Travis. I said $50 worth of gas, not $5.
Oh, that would make sense.
I can't believe this cabin was just unlocked.
Doesn't mean we can walk in, though. Just saying.
I don't want to be stranded out there. It's dark.
Wait, guys, look. There's a bunch of podcast equipment in that room over there.
Well, we're stuck here, right? So might as well just start a podcast.
Travis, stop making a mess.
I just found a bunch of VHS tapes. We can kill time by watching them.
And what? Talk about it on the podcast?
That's a great idea, actually.
What about Strangers in the Alps, a slasher podcast?
No. Well, we just finished watching Halloween Ends on VHS. My name is Dan Davis.
My name is Travis Reese.
My name is Sam J.
And I'm Frank Bennington.
And I think we should just share our feelings about the movie. Anybody want to jump in? Or no, Frank, do you want to start?
Sure. Okay, so I am the biggest Michael Myers fan I know. So going in, I already had like a bias. I was probably going to love the movie. I can't say I loved it, but I can say I really liked a lot of what it did. It shouldn't have been the last movie. It definitely shouldn't have been the movie that ends the series, or the current series. But it did a lot of stuff really well. I just don't think it all made sense to be in this one movie. You know, this monumental ending of a saga.
Did you, Frank? Because, okay, so my initial thoughts going in was with the Halloween Ends title, I thought it was going to, like, pull, like, a Halloween 4 at the end. So I thought, because they were setting up Corey as kind of the villain, so I thought what was going to happen was Corey's initial transformation was going to happen at the end, and I thought it was going to say, oh, it's Halloween Ends, like it's the end of Michael Myers, and now Corey is the new face of the series.
We forgot to do the spoiler part.
It's okay.
Well, we can do it right now. Spoiler alert. We're going to be talking about the entire movie. So if you haven't seen it, probably shouldn't listen to this podcast.
Perfect. Thank you.
I agree. I thought it was going to do that as well. And I think if it would have been a better movie for it if it had done that. You know, like obviously change things around a little bit, but it was just such a rush job. Of introducing this new character, setting up that arc, pushing him into that Michael Myers type role, all within one movie, while also trying to service the Michael and Laurie story. Honestly, and I've seen this online, parroted by other people, and I kind of agree. What they should have done was set up Corey's stuff in this movie and had like another movie after where Allison is after Corey and Laurie's after Michael. That would have made more sense to me.
Well, yeah, because I mean, in the sense you had the whole marketing campaign of this film was Laurie and Michael's final standoff, which is actually an afterthought of the film. And I agree with Corey because, I don't know, it was, like I said, his story felt super rushed, like you said. And I guess my biggest indication that it would be different was the opening titles. The opening titles were they were the exact same as Halloween 3. So I guess that should have been my biggest clue that it was a different movie, but I don't like, because I hear people online talking about we should excuse the film because of the opening credits resemble Halloween 3, so it's a different movie. But I don't like that because Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, Michael Myers wasn't in it at all. So I don't like people saying it's the Season of the Witch entry in the film, because it's not.
It feels like a crutch to say that.
Yeah, it just feels like an excuse.
I'm not much of a fanatic like you two. So you guys talking about Halloween 3 and all that stuff. And Dan, you agree?
100%.
So I'm just sitting here. We're both sitting here like, sounds great. For me, I think out of the three, I liked it more than the second one. The second one was trash. So
You say the second one, you mean the
Halloween Kills.
Halloween Kills.
previous one.
Yes, that one sucked.
That's
Pass.
my trash, okay?
Well, the thing
We'll
with-
pick it up.
The thing, okay, yeah, I didn't care for Halloween Ends much, but I do agree, even though I didn't like Corey's story, I feel like Halloween 2 was just a lot of people making bad decisions, which is very painful to watch, whereas Halloween 3, yes, Dan.
No, you can finish your thought. I just wanted
Dan, just to let everyone know, Dan has not seen Halloween 2018 or Halloween Kills.
I can cover all this on my own. Thank you. Did you want to finish your thought before I jump in?
I have many thoughts, but go on.
So I saw the first Halloween, and I saw this movie. So I think there's like 20 in between the two. And I don't want to do a review of the first Halloween because I think we would all agree it's a classic. It's a great movie. It deserves to be in the world of classics. It launched an entire genre that still exists today. But given that, I have to say my initial reaction to Halloween Ends was I was kind of impressed with the fact that it actually had kind of layers to it. I wasn't really expecting character layers. I really wasn't expecting a plot that really kind of served on its own level. It sort of had its own kind of fun and creepy quality to it. And I thought, well, this is actually kind of interesting. And I was actually really kind of into the whole Corey, journey. And there was even a point in the movie where I thought, well, maybe Michael isn't even real. Maybe it's just in Corey's mind, and Corey's actually the one doing all the killing, and that the character's not even really there. So I was actually really intrigued by a lot of it. I thought the acting, generally speaking, was pretty good. I thought the movie looked pretty good. I guess as I end my thoughts, when you peel the onion away, though, what you're really ending up with is just Michael with a butcher knife. And just literally doing what I think he does in every movie. And I guess for me, it's kind of like, wow, you really worked really hard to basically just deliver the same crap that's probably in every movie made. I'm not a big fan of these kind of movies, but I was impressed by the layers.
That's the movie I wanted, because that's what I said. It was setting up Corey, but I didn't like the way they executed it, because you had Corey in the cave when he meets Michael Myers, and then I thought it was kind of like, I think they tried to do like his passing the evil Michael Myers. Yeah, so to me it almost felt like Spider-Man 3, where like you had Corey, he was of course, a victim at the beginning. He accidentally killed this kid. And then you have, and now Michael's, and when he looks into him, he chokes him. But I don't know, it felt like Spider-Man in remember in the first movie where Peter gets bitten by the spider and he goes home, is like, I'm not feeling well, and then he wakes up in the morning and he kind of takes off his glasses and it's like, I don't need my glasses anymore, I have muscles now. And then he kind of became a jerk. So I was like, this is emo Spider-Man, and then Spider-Man 3.
That's a great point, though, because I think the way the movie sets itself up for like the first 30, 40 minutes, you really do, you really get emotionally, you get really connected with Corey. I mean, you really are on his side. You feel bad for him. As soon as he even when he kills the homeless guy, that's kind of a weird sort of accidental thing. But when he literally starts murdering people, and this is the middle of the movie, all of a sudden you're going, wait a minute. You just made me spend 45 minutes emotionally caring about this guy. Now I know this guy needs to die.
Well,
so I found that to be that's not good storytelling.
Well,
I'm just going to throw that out. It's not good.
You know what's also not good storytelling?
What?
When he tells Allison, I just killed someone, she's like, I love you.
We've all been there. Come on.
That was, we've all been there.
As a woman, I feel like that's such a red flag that she missed. And it's such a toxic thing that she just kind of graced over. It's like, oh, you killed somebody, but I love you, so it's okay. I'm going to fix you. It's like, no.
Yeah, that was really weird.
He literally said it. He killed someone. She's like, okay.
I think the setup was supposed to be, oh, I killed someone. Let's talk about that kid I killed.
Glazed over.
I didn't get that.
I mean, it's still a red flag.
Such a red flag.
I mean, we've all been there. We've all, ignored red flags before. But that was a really big red flag.
I've never ignored that red flag before.
Well, we know who the cop is that he killed, right? The cop is the brother in Halloween Kills, with the kid that dies. Remember they said, oh, your brother, the cop? So I feel like they set stuff up, they don't go anywhere. Which goes back to Allison, where, Dan, you haven't seen Halloween or Halloween Kills, where they kind of set up Allison to kind of be this tough character having this arc. And I feel like she doesn't do anything in Halloween Ends. She's
No,
kind of
she
just
didn't. I
there.
didn't know she was
And
a
I
tough
feel
character.
like out of every disservice that happened with this trilogy, I feel like Allison was very underutilized, and I kind of felt, I don't know, almost, I don't want to say insulted, but I don't know, I didn't like how they just wasted her.
Yeah. Well, actually, okay, so the one thing she does in this movie at the end is go back to Laurie's house. I'm almost entirely sure that that's a reshoot. That wasn't even in the original version. So originally, she did even less.
I also found it really interesting that the beginning of the movie, the whole sort of prologue where we hear the voiceover of Jamie Lee Curtis talking about this town and just this evil town and all the horrible evil things that have happened in this town. And my first thought was, why is anybody still living in this town? I would have left this town so long ago. And why is Corey's family still in this town? Your son, you're moving to another town, starting all over again. It's the whole Hitchcock thing where you say, why does she walk up the dark stairs to open the door where we know the crazy birds are? And Hitchcock's answer was, well, we don't have a movie if she doesn't do that.
I was going to say,
Even though it makes no sense.
I was going to say we don't have the first 40 minutes anymore.
Right, but it's also, you have to do it, but it doesn't mean it makes sense. Because almost all horror movies force characters to do things that you would never do, but you wouldn't have a story if you didn't do it. So I guess I'm defending it in a way.
The Corey introduction with the family staying actually didn't bother me as much as with Laurie's character. So you've seen the first Halloween, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So as you said, you've seen the first Halloween. So in Halloween 2018, Laurie's whole thing is her saying, Michael is in this mental hospital, right? He's in the hospital. He's in there, though. I don't feel safe. I don't feel safe at all. I have to keep prepping. So she kind of becomes this Sarah Connor doomsday prepper where she's like, we have to be ready. We have to. So, and then when Halloween Kills, the ending of Halloween Kills, it's, I keep forgetting her name, but Laurie's daughter is on the phone with Laurie.
Allison.
Yeah. No, Karen. Allison's the granddaughter.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so Karen is on the phone with Michael Myers. I'm sorry. Corey is on... Corey. Karen is on the phone with Laurie, and they're talking, and you find out there's a reveal that Michael's there. He's behind Karen, and he starts killing her, like stabbing her on the phone, and Laurie hears the whole thing while she's in the hospital on the bed, and then Laurie kind of ends with it's almost kind of like the ending of Kill Bill Volume 1, where she's walking, and she's like, I'm bringing the battle to you, Michael. I'm ready. I'm going to kill you. Movie ends. 4 years later. So my whole assumption with that is weird. It's like, okay, now Michael is out there. He just killed your daughter. He's on the loose. You've been prepping for this. What am I going to do? I'm just going to get over it. I'm going to move to a town and I'm going to settle down and try to enjoy my life. But at the same time, why?
But I mean, look, I totally get what you're saying. But she is writing a book, right? She's writing some kind of book. The whole thing is her writing. The whole thing is her narrating and reflecting. It feels like almost like the movie begins where we already know the ending. Like she's already at, you know what I mean? Like it feels like the beginning of the movie, we've already had the ending. Yeah.
But I think what he's trying to say is that at the end of Kills, she was dead set on finding Michael and avenging her daughter's death, and then in this one, she's like, you know what? I'm just gonna write a book about it.
Well,
yeah.
And it's not. And it's. I want to know what happened between her walking to Michael, and then her just giving up. So what happened in the middle? Was she like, you know what? I can't find him. Mm-hmm. I can't.
And having not seen that movie, it meant nothing to me because I had no idea that that's how the other movie ended.
So I guess he was just in a sewer down by the river.
I gotta throw one question out though, because there's so many of these Halloween movies, and I was always curious: does the Rob Zombie Halloween, is that part of the universe? Is that part of the Michael Myers universe?
It's its own thing. We don't talk about it though.
Well, and you also have to remember too.
Because it was a reboot, right? It was a remake of the original.
Yeah.
Okay. So not having seen Halloween films, it's great because the one big rule that they have with every Halloween movie is after you have a first film, in the sequel, you just destroy everything you did in the previous film. You ruin everything. That's the rule. You have a successful Halloween movie, let's ruin the story. Let's throw these twists that make no sense.
Yeah, it's a curse.
Of Michael Myers.
My thing was when you mentioned the cave, I laugh at the fact that he's this vicious killer. He's no like mercy for anything. But in this one, he's hiding in the cave for 90% of the film. Why?
Well,
That's a great question. I wondered the same thing.
Like, why is he scared? Is he like weak? He's never been weak.
He's not, especially because in the ending of Halloween Kills, he literally takes out a whole neighborhood mob. Like, they're trying to go after him. They're like stabbing him, fighting. He takes them all out effortlessly. And then now in Halloween Ends, Corey is beating up Michael Myers. Who was beating up Corey?
Okay, well, see, that goes back to what I said about this movie does really interesting things, but they don't all fit together as well or make sense. So Kills sets up this idea that every time Michael kills, he transcends to like a supernatural level of existence. But in between the 4 years, you know, suddenly he's not killing as much, so he, I guess, kind of powers down like a battery. The thing is, he's still killing. Like, the movie implies he's still killing, so how is he so weak, but he's still killing? Like, he should be normal. And I think it sets up two really interesting things. Number one, it sets up that the kind of evil that Michael is gets stronger with every kill. And so that's something that works for that whole, you know, Corey being able to wrestle Michael, you know, being able to take his mask. At that point in the movie, he's killed enough that he's at that same, like, plane, I guess, of supernatural ability that Michael's at. So it would make more sense. It still doesn't entirely make sense. And that's one of my problems with parts of the movie, is that I'm a lore geek. I love when movies set up, you know, these little details and intricacies that you can look into. But it has to make sense. And it doesn't all make sense in this movie. And that's really frustrating.
I mean, I might be taking a left turn here. I just have a question. You know, listening to you talk and listening to everybody talk about this movie and the whole series, I feel like, is Michael Myers some kind of hero? I mean, in other words, I feel like we're, in some weird kind of way, we're all rooting for Michael Myers and the next kill and Michael Myers, and he's just sort of, I mean, are we really
it depends on which film.
Really wanting him to be extinguished, which he totally was, by the way, spoiler alert.
It depends on which film you're watching.
Yeah, like, I don't know. Because in the first original Halloween, you were 100% on Jamie Lee Curtis's side. You were 100% not, you know. But I feel like in this movie, it was almost this weird kind of feeling like, oh, we're going to see Michael Myers. Oh, this is going to be so exciting. Oh, this is like, and for what, 18, 20 movies, however many it's been.
It never gets old.
Where are we at with Michael Myers? Are we cheering for Michael Myers to keep existing?
I think for me, when you said that, the second movie, which you haven't seen, after the mob in the hospital, I'm like, you know what? I'm Team Michael Myers, because this can't happen. There's this mob in the hospital where everybody in town went to the hospital where Laurie's at. Correct me if I'm wrong, I forget things, but they kind of run through the hospital trying to find Michael Myers, but this is when he first got out of jail, right? Or he broke out of somewhere? Or
yeah, it's at that point where they think that there is a Michael Myers, but it's just like some random mental patient.
Right, because
it's the whole mob mentality. It's the mob mentality.
And after that, I'm like, you know what? Michael Myers all the way, because this is stupid.
Once they said evil ends tonight, I was like, I'm Team Michael.
Yeah.
Right. I totally get that.
In that movie, they basically peer pressured a mental patient into committing suicide because they were going to go after him and they thought he was Michael.
Mob mentality.
And his body figure is not at all like what Michael Myers would look like. He was short, like pudgy, he had long hair, kind of bald, and they're like, that's Michael Myers. It's like, I don't think so.
Speaking of it, Dan, or just everyone, I actually have never had to stop with a film before until now, with Halloween Ends. You know, with the pandemic now affecting the way that films are shot, I feel like we've had films come out since, but I've never felt like this is a pandemic film until I watched Halloween Ends. What brings this up is the hospital. So in Halloween Kills, it's a big hospital they're at, right? We see the big hospital. Now, in Halloween Ends, when they're at the hospital, because Laurie's granddaughter works there, Allison works there, did it not look like a vet clinic?
It did. I got vet clinic vibes.
I kept thinking, oh, I almost thought Allison was a vet. And they were like, and then Jamie Lee Curtis is like, oh, well, even though my daughter's a vet, you know, she can stitch you up as a human. And I really feel like it's because they couldn't film at maybe a hospital. They couldn't have a ton of extras. I don't know. I very much had a pandemic feel with this film because I also feel like when they were at the grocery store was completely empty.
Yeah.
One person in there.
You know, the more you point it out, the more it makes sense. Like, it felt like the movie was trying to be big, but it couldn't be. And that actually goes back to that point about dropped plot threads, like the whole, you know, Laurie going after Michael thing that they set up in Kills. So, from what I've read, the original idea for this trilogy was it would all take place over one Halloween night. Part of it was probably the pandemic. The other part was probably just changing their minds as they were going along. The third movie was not supposed to be what this was. It was supposed to take place right after and pick up that same night and just end there. But I guess halfway through filming Kills, they were like, you know what? Let's use this whole pandemic to do something else with the third one. And I think it really bit them in the ass. They should not. What they should have done is finish that. But maybe also, like, because the Corey stuff is really interesting to me. I really like the idea. And I don't think it's, from my perspective anyway, I don't think it's Michael passing on evil. I think it's more like Michael recognizing an evil and, like, kind of nurturing it in a way. Yeah. I feel like they should have done that storyline in whatever Halloween's Ends would have been if it had take place on the same night. And then just had Corey do something else for a fourth movie. You know, set it up throughout that third film. Maybe have Corey kill once at the end and then sprout from there. Because you know what? I really loved, and it sounds fucked up to say it this way, but I really loved Corey's little rampage at the end. It all felt like 100% Michael Myers. Like, that felt like, okay, that's brutal. That the way he acted at that point, it felt like he was possessed by the same kind of evil that Michael has, but in his own way.
But I agree with you. And oddly, though, I still felt in the story that Corey, he had... in other words, his victims were people that it wasn't random. He was killing people that had ruined had affected him. Michael Myers just kills randomly. He's just a madman who kills anything in front of him, at least from what I can tell. So, yeah, I think that's very interesting. I think what you're saying, it would have been interesting to see if the whole Corey journey, maybe Corey kills Michael Myers at the end of 3 and then becomes Michael Myers in his own, you know, crazy evil way and starts a whole new sort of thing.
Yeah, I agree. And as I said, like, I was hoping that's why the title would come from. Halloween Ends. Right after the intro, I thought that's what's going to happen. And I agree. I feel like indefinitely the third one does feel uneven because the first two take place in one night and then you jump ahead 4 years. I feel like maybe introduce Corey in film number 2. Maybe not just have it all take place in one night. It feels uneven. And then speaking of Corey, I don't know if I'm overthinking this, but in the scenes with Corey when he is like killing the band geeks when they're in the tow truck area, did anyone not get Christine vibes?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
Especially with the tow truck, I'm like, am I watching Christine? Like, I mean, which is interesting because it's another Carpenter film. So I was like, oh, they're totally like homaging this.
I feel like the movie really does take a lot of inspiration from Christine. That whole, you know, turning evil.
Corey.
Corey's storyline is 100% Christine.
Well, he even has the motorcycle. He gets cool now. God. He gets a motorcycle.
Okay, did anybody else feel like after he did that first kill with Michael, that Michael was going to be in the motorcycle behind him? He
has like a little sidecar. Is it the sidecar with him?
Riding behind him.
They pull into like a Burger King.
Right. Or just do one of those montage sort of relationship things where they're like out on the beach and they're like,
you make my dreams you make my dreams come true.
Yeah. Something tells me I'm into something good.
This was a love story.
Yeah, we were sort of missing the Corey and Michael Myers montage scene. This really cool 60s song and they're just doing kill after kill after kill and just sort of rampaging.
Halloween ends, love begins.
But also,
Valentine's Day begins.
At the end of it, we didn't find Corey's body. I know he got
there
quote unquote killed, but I don't think they ever referenced
he came back
him
to
after.
life, right?
Yeah, so like after she offed Michael, I think we never got like a recall for Corey
I don't like
all.
that. It reminds me of I'm getting serious. Jason Goes to Hell vibes now.
Or H2O vibes.
Halloween Water.
That's right.
Resurrection.
It was Jason Goes to Hell. I thought it was a
Jason- no,
Michael
yeah,
Myers
no,
movie
it
that
was-
went to hell.
it
It
was-
was a Friday the 13th movie that goes to hell.
And that was the whole thing. Was in the opening, Jason. The sheriffs they kill him, but there's something a parasite in him that leaves his body and he possesses other people. So I really hope we don't get that where it's like a Jason Goes to Hell type parasite now possessing other people.
But let me ask this question, and I love everybody's thoughts. Is this really the end of Michael Myers in these movies?
No.
I mean, they're just going to reboot
No.
it some way, right? They're never going to get rid
Well,
of
it's
Michael
only
Myers.
because they had to do a trilogy. Is the studio behind it, Blumhouse? They're only contracted to do 3 films. They cannot do any more.
But it's like James Bond, yes.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. James Bond dies, but James Bond is not gone, even
No.
though he died. They're going to
title's
keep making
alive.
more James
He's
Bond
with
movies.
us in here.
So
Okay.
it doesn't matter. I think they went out of their way to grind up Michael Myers at the end of the movie to convince us there will never be another movie, but we know that's not true.
Somehow the body gets switched.
Why even bother going through that?
Also, how do we feel about that end where they're like, you know what? For people to believe Lori, she's gonna call everybody in town and just be like, "Follow me. We're gonna go to the junkyard."
I
just
felt like they were
grind
already
him up."
there. I think they were already like,
No, they
hey, we're waiting outside. Let's.
Right, and then she just like propped him on top of the roof and just kind of like parade him around town. It's like, hey guys,
We're not
follow
gonna
me.
do it that way this time.
Yeah, you guys can't make fun of me.
I think it's a cool idea. I don't think it
Really?
was. No, I on paper, I think it's a cool idea
Okay.
to have like the whole town oversee the destruction of his body, but
Yeah.
I don't think they.
Didn't work so well.
No, they didn't.
No.
They didn't stick that.
It was like a
landing.
mob scene again from Halloween Kills. It was just like obnoxiously why.
Speaking of the ending not working, so Lori says they're not gonna put him in a grave, right? They want him in an unmarked grave because they don't want him to be remembered ever.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's it, he's done. What is she doing at the end of the movie? Writing a book about his character? Just had to say that. Sorry.
I didn't
Mark
put
Sell.
much thought into that. That
She's
makes
writing
sense.
a book. Yeah, that's my notes. Look, I have in my notes here. We were in the car and Sam saw it. She is writing a book.
Writing spelled WRITTING.
Yeah, did I spell
Wow,
writing
you
wrong?
put him on blast.
Writing. Shodan.
Yeah, look, right. She is writing a book.
Oh yeah, there you go. Good.
Yeah, but
Well, Sam, what did you think about it from like someone who's not as like, I guess, much of a fanatic? Like overall in the pantheon of Halloween movies,
yeah, some
where would you place it?
final thoughts.
You want me to rank it? From what I've seen?
Yeah,
With the original, obviously, like Dan said, top. And then I would say Halloween, the 2000, was it 15, 16?
2018.
Thank you. And then Halloween Ends, and then Halloween Kills. From someone who had never really seen, like you, like followed everything, it had a lot of plot holes. So having you describe how you felt, like it's him transcending, or kind of, with every kill, he kind of like transcends his evilness, that makes sense when you explain it to me. I don't think that went through with the movie itself.
No.
no,
Dan, final thoughts.
Well, no, I mean, I'll go back to what I originally said. I went into watching the movie expecting to just not like anything, but just because I'm not into the idea of slasher movies, but I'm always surprised, or have been surprised, when I've seen someone gone, oh wow, this is actually an interesting storyline. I was very intrigued by the Corey storyline. I was very intrigued by the layers, the relationships that were being created, having not seen the ones before, and then ultimately just sort of disappointed in that it didn't really play out or come to fruition as I felt it had been set up, and just became a slasher movie. And again, when you peel the onion, what do you got? Michael Myers and a big butcher knife, and that's essentially what
I think it did a lot of individual things right, but as a whole, it didn't satisfy me the way I wanted it to. Yeah, overall, I wish it was better than what we got, but I will cherish it as my trash.
Are you getting
Till the day I die.
Are you getting the Steelbook? Best Buy Steelbook.
100%. 100%.
Travis, wrap it up.
Oh yeah. So my final thoughts. So I think this film is literally a buffet. I'm gonna call it a buffet of a film, where you go to a buffet. It has bits and pieces of different things that can make it good. I'm going to say I'm at a buffet right now. I'm not really thinking of what I want. I get excited. I start grabbing a bunch of things, and I sit down at the table. Right when I sit down and start to eat, Dan comes by. I'm like, oh my God, Dan, they had cheesecake. I didn't know they had cheesecake. Now they have better things. So I'm going to say it's the Golden Corral of films. Definitely had bits and pieces. I didn't like it, but I actually prefer it over Halloween Kills.
Okay.
So I'm not going to be able to rank the whole series now. I would say out of the H40 trilogy, it's Halloween 2018, Halloween Ends, and then Halloween Kills. Those are my final thoughts. Yeah, so...
Good talk, guys.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.
Good talk.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. Again, we are a Stranger Things. We are not a Stranger Things. Thank you.
Well, we are Stranger Things. We're just not Stranger Things.
Thank you again, everyone, for listening. Yeah, we are
Strangers in the Alps.
Strangers in the Alps, a slasher podcast. You can follow us on Instagram, Satellite 12 Productions. You can also follow us on YouTube. You can follow us on TikTok. We have Roger Garland videos, which you should all check out. So next week, we are going to cover the ultimate mall movie, the ultimate mall horror movie. Anytime everyone thinks of malls and horror movies, they think of this one. They have to... Oh.
Chopping Mall.
I thought
You
were gonna say
ruined
Terminator 2.
my joke.
Well, I think the joke is Chopping Mall where you can lose an arm and a
We're
leg.
shopping cause your arm and leg. I was going to go with You Have to Survive Till Dawn, and then I was going to say we're going to talk about Chopping Mall.
You took
Perfect.
forever, though.
So
sounds like
can we all agree it's Chopping Mall?
Yeah, next
Yes.
week's film is Chopping Mall. I just found the VHS tape over there, so we're going to watch it next week. Thank you again, everyone, for listening.
Till
My
then.
mom loves the chopping mall.
Goodbye, folks.
Goodbye.